All right, let's dive into something that's gonna mess with your head a little. We're talking about an idea that jumped straight out of science fiction and landed right in the middle of serious debates with physicists and philosophers. Really think about it. The ground you're standing on right now, the air you're breathing. What if none of it is real in the way you think it is? What if it's all just a program, an unbelievably advanced computer simulation? Now, for a lot of us, this whole concept probably sounds familiar, right? Thanks to movies like The Matrix. But here's the crazy part. What used to be just a cool movie plot is now being looked at seriously. I'm talking real scientific and philosophical investigation. And look, this isn't some fringe conspiracy theory we're talking about. You've got heavy hitters like Nick Bostrom, a philosopher at Oxford, basically saying the probability is high that we're in a simulation. So, what on earth could make them think that? What evidence is there for something so completely mind-bending? Okay, so the first clue, and maybe the weirdest one, doesn't come from a philosophical debate. It comes from physics. It looks like there might be a secret code, literally, written into the fabric of our universe. So, check this out. A physicist named Dr. James Gates is working on these super complex equations about how the universe is built, right? And buried inside the math, he finds computer code. Not just any code either. He finds a specific type of error-correcting code, the exact same kind we use to make sure your emails and cat videos get sent without getting garbled online. Which leads to a pretty chilling question, doesn't it? How did a code that humans invented for computers end up woven into the fundamental structure of a universe that's billions of years old? I mean, did the universe just happen to come up with it? Or is it a sign that the whole thing is a piece of software? But the rabbit hole goes deeper. That strange code isn't the only clue. When you start looking at the quantum world, the super tiny stuff, the universe starts acting less like a physical object and a lot more like a computer. Think about a video game. To save memory and power, the game engine only draws the part of the world you're actually looking at. The stuff behind you, it's not really there until you turn around. Well, get this. In the real world, at a quantum level, particles seem to do the exact same thing. They exist in a haze of every possible state at once, until we look at them. The moment we observe them, bam, they snap into one definite reality. It really makes you wonder, is the universe just saving on processing power? And then there's the speed of light. We all know it's the ultimate speed limit. Nothing can go faster. But why? Why is there a speed limit at all? Well, every computer has a processor with a clock speed, a maximum speed at which it can perform calculations. So what if the speed of light isn't a property of space, but the clock speed of the cosmic computer our universe is running on? It keeps going. If you zoom way in on your phone screen, you'll see pixels, right? The tiny little dots that make up the image. Well, physicists have discovered that our universe has pixels too. Kinda. There's a thing called the Planck length, which is the absolute smallest possible unit of space. You can't get any smaller. That means reality isn't a smooth, continuous thing. It's grainy, it's pixelated, just like a digital image. So you've got computer code, resource optimization, a processor speed, and pixels. If you accept all these clues, you have to ask the biggest question of all. If this is all a program, who's the programmer? This is where guys like Elon Musk come in. He's famously said that the odds were in base reality, the one real original universe, are 1 in billions. And his logic is pretty simple. If any civilization ever gets advanced enough to create just one perfect simulation of reality, they're probably not going to stop at one. They'll make thousands, maybe billions of them. Statistically, we're much more likely to be in one of the many simulations than the one single base reality. This idea is summed up perfectly by Nick Bostrom's trilemma. He says one of these three things has to be true. 1, civilizations always destroy themselves before they can create these ancestor simulations. 2, they get the technology but, for some reason, decide not to run them. Or 3, we're living in one, right now. And when you think about it, option 3 starts to sound pretty plausible. So why? Why would someone run a simulation of us? The reasons could be, well, anything. Maybe we're just an incredibly advanced version of The Sims for some future being's entertainment. Or maybe our entire history is just some grad student's thesis project. On a more serious note, what if our world is a giant digital laboratory? a way for our creators to test out scenarios, like how to solve climate change or what happens in a world war without any real-world consequences for them. Okay, so if we are living inside a giant piece of software, then just like any computer program, it should have bugs, right? Glitches. And some people think we actually experience these glitches in the matrix all the time. You know that bizarre feeling of déjà vu? That super weird, intense feeling that you've been in this exact moment before? We usually just write it off as a trick of the brain, but in simulation theory, it could be something else. Maybe it's just a bit of system lag, or maybe the simulation was just reloaded from a previous save point and we're feeling the echo of it. And then there's the Mandela effect. This is where huge groups of people clearly remember something that, well, never happened. The classic case is how tons of people swear they remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 80s. In simulation theory, that's not a mass delusion. It's a patch. It's like a system administrator went back and changed an event in the timeline, but some of the old data, our memories, didn't get overwritten properly. So when you add it all up, the code, the weird quantum effects, the glitches, it forces you to step back and ask a really, really big question. If we are in a simulation, what does real even mean anymore? From a philosophical point of view, it might not matter at all. The argument goes like this. Who cares if you're made of atoms or bits of data? You are experiencing life. The joy you feel, the pain, the love, those experiences are real to you. And maybe that's the only kind of real that matters. But that leads to another huge question about who we are in this whole thing. Are we just NPCs, non-player characters, like the background characters in a video game, just following a script? Or are we the actual players here, with real free will, making our own choices inside this digital world? You know, there's a more optimistic way to look at all this. What if the simulation isn't some cosmic prison? What if it's more like a playground? A place designed specifically for consciousness, for us to learn and to grow. If that's the case, then maybe the point isn't to try and find the exit. Maybe the point is to play the game as best we can, to live as fully as possible right here. And that's really where this leaves us. We probably will never know for sure if this is base reality or not, but here's a final thought. Think about the love you feel for someone, your family, your friends. Does it feel any less real if it's generated by code instead of chemistry? Maybe those feelings, those connections, maybe that's the only reality we can truly own and the only one that really matters in the end.